My name is Joachim Koops. I'm the Dean of the Studies College here in Brussels. I'm also a research professor for European Security and Defence Policy at the Institute for European Studies and director of the Global Governance Institute. I worked a bit for the UNDPKO, the Department of Peacekeeping Operations, both in New York and here. Also French Ministry of Defense, German Foreign Office. My research area is the focus on the big three international organizations, the European Union, NATO and the United Nations approach to crisis management, peacekeeping and peace building. I'm interested in their own policies and the impact of their policies, but also on the field, the so-called field of inter-organizational relations, which is an emerging subfield of international relations, looking at how organizations cooperate, how they compete, how their joint impact can be improved. What we discussed was a little bit, on one hand, how to get the most out of interaction with policymakers, so the traditional elite interview setting, how to conduct interviews, but also how to build up networks amongst policymakers. Then a little bit reflecting on the academic think tank nexus, so what makes an academic, what makes a policy analyst and think tanker, but also what are the kind of career paths and the skills that you might need to be active in the think tank realm and in the policy advice realm. There's a lot on, of course, how do you make your work relevant as an academic? How do you, make sure policymakers pick up on your work? How do you make sure your work is, more widely read and disseminated? How do you have to communicate differently as a policy relevant scholar rather than a complete, theoretical focused academic? Sometimes the key is simply communicating it rightly, getting the right timing. Policy cycles are very, very, rapid and short notice. And thirdly, it always has to be very clear how it can help the policymaker, how is it relevant, and is it practical? The best ideas and the most creative ideas will not be picked up by policymakers if they're not considering the constraints, both resources and practicality that policymakers face. So you always have to think through, is this advice implementable? Could the person go with that advice to his committee or her committee and say, look, I've got an idea that could work. And also career options, should I stay in academia? Should I move more to the think tank? I had very interesting discussions right now on people wanting to start their own think tank. They have ideas, they feel constrained by their own institutions. How do you go about starting your own think and so on and so forth? So some very interesting discussions there.